Okay, hello everybody, DJ Bagpuss here and welcome to episode 2 of Build Up to the Prem. Now I just want to say thank you so much for the support that you showed on the opening episode. Check it out, the link's in the description if you missed it. Yesterday's episode we talked about the best transfers that have happened in the Premier League so far. And I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you're here today it means you enjoyed the first episode, and I hope you enjoy the series to come over the next 3 nights. So if you remember from yesterday's episode, I gave you the first question of the day, and that was what was the day that the world's most expensive player in the Premier League, Paul Pogba, signed to Manchester United. So I was looking for the date, the month and the year, and the answer is Tuesday the 9th of August 2016. That was the day that Manchester United confirmed the signing of Paul Pogba. So that was the answer, Tuesday the 9th of August 2016. So well done if you got that, and if you left it in the comment section below, then thank you so much for leaving that answer, and congratulations if you got the question correct. So the new season kicks off on Friday. You can see Brighton's Premier League debut. They're back in the big time for the first time in many, many years, and they take on the title favourites, Manchester City. You can see that live on BT Sport at 5:30 on Saturday the 12th of August. And yeah, so hopefully you enjoy that if you're a Manchester City fan. Saturday the 12th of August, you can see their opening account. Now in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the top 5 best opening day fixtures over the last 5 seasons. So I've picked one game from each of the last 5 seasons of the opening day of that Premier League season. A challenge for you as well that I'm going to leave to you, that all of the fixtures that are happening this weekend, check them out. You can see them on the Premier League official website. Tell me in the comment section below what you think will be the best game out of the 10 games that is kicking off this Premier League season. So I'll let you have that challenge, and what game will live up to the hype, I'll leave, you can leave that in the comment section below. But I'm going to tell you the best 5 opening day fixtures ever, because the Premier League opening day has thrown over the last couple of years some spicy games. So let's kick it off. In the 2012-2013 Premier League season, I have picked out Everton against Manchester United. Now this was at Goodison Park, and this was on the first Monday Night Football of the 2012-13 Premier League season. Everton beat Manchester United that day by a goal to nil. Marouane Fellaini got the only goal of that affair, and it was basically for Manchester United, it was the season just after Manchester City had won the Premier League in the most dramatic way possible, and Manchester United were looking to get their 20th title under Sir Alex Ferguson, and they started that title winning season with a defeat. Marouane Fellaini, now the Manchester United star, got the only goal, and it was a shock of the cards. I think it was the first time in like 6 or 7 seasons that Sir Alex Ferguson had lost on the opening day. So that was quite a big shock on the cards. Everton beating Manchester United when the gracious David Moyes was in charge of the blue side of Merseyside. Then we go on to 2013-14, and we go to the Emirates for the first of 2 on my list, and this is Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 3. And yeah, it was just a horrendous day. We hadn't signed anyone, which is a recurring thing. We seem to keep getting that recurring theme, not prepared for the opening day of a Premier League season, and this was no exception. We started in the best possible way. Oxlade-Chamberlain put a ball into Olivier Giroud, who opened up the proceedings, but then Benteke scored a rebounded penalty. We got a red card that day, and Arsenal fans were in fury. They were in anger. They were in anguish with Arsene Wenger, who had yet to sign anyone. This was before we signed Mesut Ozil that season. And it was just typical Arsenal. It was the worst possible start. People were calling for his head right after the first game, and it was just a big shock on the cards. Everyone basically said, even me, I thought, this is a home bank. We're going to easily win this. And we didn't. We lost, and we lost in quite a bad way. Aston Villa demolished us that day at the Emirates, back in the day where they were actually not too bad. Times have changed now. Maybe not Arsenal, winning on the opening day, but Aston Villa certainly will not have that luxury for the next couple of years. But yeah, they beat us 3-1, and even though we ended that season in 4th and we were title contenders for a large part of it, it was the worst possible start that you can think of for a Premier League season to begin. Losing at home to Aston Villa wasn't good. In 2014-15, so this is the season just after that, I have picked out Burnley 1, Chelsea 3. Now, this was Jose Mourinho's second season, and he normally does it in his second season. Chelsea were title favourites going into this weekend, and the bookies picked them as going to be the team that won the Premier League. And it was quite a shocking game at Turf Moor. Burnley took the lead very, very early on. I remember watching this game with my dad, who's a Chelsea fan, and they took the lead very, very early on. But Diego Costa, who was making his Premier League debut, got a rebound and equalised for Chelsea. And then we saw one of, basically, I think, the passes of the season, and it was only when the season got going, and yet we saw one of the greatest one. Fabregas, a diagonal ball that just switched and went right over to Schürrle, who bagged it in for 2-1. And then it was just basically an easy day because William finished off the day by getting Chelsea's third goal. And Jose Mourinho's team was basically favourites that day and going into that Premier League season, and they did just that. They were title favourites, and they won to win the Premier League trophy that year, and it was a great game of football, and that Monday night was really an interesting game. But Burnley, for a minute, it looked like they went to go up, and they nearly got themselves a second before Fabregas turned on the screws. Schürrle went in, and the rest is history. So I picked that game out from 2014-2015. 2015-2016, and I've picked out a game that wasn't televised, and it was Leicester 4, Sunderland 2. Now, this was the biggest shock in Premier League history, not the Leicester beating Sunderland by 4-2, but Leicester in 2015-2016 gave us the biggest shock in Premier League history as Leicester became champions for the first time in the club's 134-year history. At that time, they were 134 years old, and it wasn't really a big game at the time. Not many people took it very seriously, but it was a game that, when you look back on Leicester's title-winning season, you look at that game and you think it was like the benchmark of what they set to kind of just go on an amazing run and become Premier League champions. Jamie Vardy opened up the score, and what an incredible season he had. And, you know, it was one of those games where not many people took it very seriously, but, you know, looking back, you know, champions need to start their season with gold, and they certainly did. It was an absolutely incredible game of football. Really, you know, it was just a great game of football to watch at the KP. But, you know, Leicester using that kind of just set the ball rolling, and the ball never stopped, and they went on to become Premier League champions. And as I said, it set the benchmark for the greatest sporting story ever told, and that was Leicester in a nutshell. They were absolutely amazing this season. And finally, last season, I've picked out another game at the Emirates, which I still think is probably one of the greatest opening day games we've ever seen. Arsenal 3, Liverpool 4. Now, I watched this with my mate last year from college, Ashley Harris. He was the person that did episode 8 of the DJ Bagpuss show with me, the Premier League season review, 16-17, not quite Arsenal fan TV. But I remember watching this game, and it was a great game of football from like the neutral point of view. It was absolutely sensational. We took the lead early on. Theo Walcott got a penalty, and he missed that penalty. He then, I think, like 60 seconds later, scored for us. I was like thinking, yes, this is great. Come on, boys, we're going to do this. And then Coutinho, just before half-time, this was literally the final kick of the first half, scored an absolute sublime free kick. And then it was just at the other side of half-time, Lallana got himself a goal, took Liverpool into the lead. Coutinho with an absolute bolted header, smashing it into the goal to make it 3-1. And Mane on his debut, scoring an absolutely sensational goal. And Liverpool scored 3 goals, I think, inside like 20 minutes. It was absolutely horrible. Oxlade-Chamberlain got us back into the game, as did... who scored the third goal? I can't actually remember who scored the third goal. It might have been Chambers, one of our centre-halves. And it was headed in from a free kick. I can't actually remember who scored the third goal. And again, there was more anguish around the Emirates. We hadn't signed anyone at that point. It was before Mustafi. It was before Perez. But, you know, I think our early signing was Xhaka, and he was on the bench that day. So, yeah, there was more hatred from the Arsenal fans. They wanted to see some money. We spent some money, but, you know, had we won that game, we actually might have got Champions League football last season. So it was an absolutely incredible game. And who knows what the greatest game out of the first batch of Premier League games for 2017-2018 is going to be. Let me know down below. Now, the question of the day for this episode is, what was the first ever opening day game shown on television? I just want the team, the fixture, and the score. So I'll reveal the answer in tomorrow's episode, where we will be getting a guest on. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 3. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and also leave your comment, questions, queries down in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter at DJBagpuss1998. And this is DJ Bagpuss signing out. So take care, and I shall speak to you tomorrow. See you later.
Let's make this moment